Hey, Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom. Yeah, hey, first and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and as well as the men that taught them, and peace and blessings to all Yoakim out there who pushing his word with all truth and sincerity, and as well as to all you believers out there who believe in on the gospel. And it's a couple of brothers from the Great Millstone Houston camp, and the brother Korah Abad. And as always, we got the beloved brother Tazapai as well.
Uh,
Khan and Shalom. To all the Akim Aqua that's tuning in, and Lord willing, this lesson do be edifying. We want to hop into it. And again, there's a lot going on. There's a lot that the Lord doing in the earth, and it's not gonna stop. As 2 Ezra 16 says, a woman in travail. And there's only a handful of major prophecies, or really all the prophecies, because the major ones go kick off the little skirmishes. All the little skirmishes gonna kick off the major ones. But it's a few major prophecies left that we waiting on before we can see the coming of our Lord and rule on earth. The first and the most important one that's left is the MOTB, which is the RFID micro C hub, and you have a lot of camps, a lot of teachers, for these past couple of years, have been saying how it's impossible to be an MOTB. It can't happen. But we have been seeing a system being built around us. We have been seeing a system being built around us and the speed that is moving in. And we, Lord willing, we touch on a few of those things tonight. And there's a lot of things that's going to happen between that. But first and foremost, the MOTB, most important. Then you got World War III, which that's gonna usher in the coming of our Lord. And in between, while those two going on, you're gonna have Jacob's trouble that's gonna be taking place. Jacob's 2 Ezra 15, it describes it. As they racing for this new world order, World War III gonna be close, and then all hell gonna break loose. That's the three ones right there. And then how shall I go come? So we right there, man. We watching this thing play out. We're in exciting times. So before we hop into it, other times of part, you got anything?
no, I'm good.
Come.
Good.
Come. So we'll hop into it. The title of this one is Thursday Live, World War III update, data center robots, digital lockdowns, and energy crisis. And they shalom for the
Shalom.
Akwas is tuning in, y'all bashim shabrakata. The El Dabaja Shalom, y'all bashim shabrakata. The Maj.
Shalom.
So we'll start with the World War III update first. And this came out yesterday, July 8th, from End Time Headlines. And as you know, over the past weeks, really a month or so, you've been having America, Israel, and Iran going back and forth with so-called peace talks. And they always talk about they came to an agreement, or Trump lied and said they came to an agreement, and Iran said we never talked about nothing. But eventually between that actually happening, them agreeing upon that, somebody getting bombed or somebody getting hit by a drone or a ship blowing up, and then they'll call it off. But we know, according to prophecy, it won't be no peace. It won't be no agreement. These nations have to go to war. Right? So now something else happened 2 weeks ago, a week ago. They said, look, we're agreeing, we're chilling. So this says Trump declares ceasefire with scum Iranian leaders is over. Right. Trump declares that ceasefire with scum Iranian leaders is over, lashes out at NATO over Greenland, and cuts off all trade with terrible Spain. It says, according to a report from the Daily Mail, President Donald Trump has abruptly ended a fragile ceasefire with Iran, labeling the country's leadership a bunch of scum. It says, following overnight exchanges of fire in the Strait of Hormuz, speaking at a high stakes press conference during the NATO summit in Ankara on July 8th, 2026, yesterday, it says Trump voiced deep frustration with Tehran and signaled a hardening U.S. stance amid escalating tensions in the region. And it says Trump remarks came after U.S. forces conducted extensive strikes against Iranian targets in response to attacks on commercial vessels. He accused Iranian leaders of violating interim agreement in attempting to target American interests, including himself, pointing to his own position. The president claimed he would remain high on the regime's priority list. So they're going back and forth. You had anything, Elder Tazapar?
No, I'm good. You good?
Okay, okay,
So
come. Now you good, right? So they're
I'll
going back.
bring this out. Yeah, I'll bring this out right quick. And it's First Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3. It says, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." It said, "But ye brethren are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief." And right, they do these peace talks, but we know there'll be no peace. All right. And this like you go into all the time, the times that we in is going to increase, just like a woman that's pregnant with a child, and or in travail with a child. They might subside for a little bit, but then they coming right back, and then even stronger. That's what's going on with Iran. They say, "Oh, we're gonna have peace talks," and all they doing is regrouping, re-strategizing, but they going right back at it. That's just how labor pains come. They hit, they back off, they hit harder, and then it subside a little bit, and then they just keep coming until their child comes. In this case, the child is the kingdom. The Lord said, it's going to be travail, and we have to go through this. But I think that's John. Let me go to John 16, right quick. So yeah, it's going to be, we want a peace deal, but how can it be peace? The small hats, they saying that they not stopping. So yeah, this is let me see, St. John, chapter 16, verse 21. A woman, when she is in travail, has sorrow, and that's Jacob's trouble coming up. We as a nation are going to be in sorrow, as pursuant to Second Ezra, the 7th chapter. They say we got to go through that straight. On the right is a fire, and on the left a deep water. And can but one man go there at once? And that's letting you know we all got to go through there. Can't nobody help you across. We all must go through basically on our own works. All right. So this is saying the same thing. St. John chapter 16 and 21. A woman, when she is in travail, has sorrow because her hour is come. You see, our hour is come. Remember the Lord and the disciples got sorrowful when they told him he had to go away, and he told them, this. He said, "For this hour I am coming." Right before his travail. And he said, "This is basically this is why I came here." And so here we are at our time. We got to go through this. Ain't no other way. So it says, "A woman, when she is in travail, has sorrow because her hour is come. But as soon as she is delivered," and what are we looking to be? Delivered of the child, "she remembereth no more the anguish for joy that a man is born into the world." All right. So yes, what we're going through right now. We got to hit this. We got to go through this travail. So Yeah, it's just going to progressively get worse until the deliverance. And then we're gonna forget about all this bullshit.
Come,
But go ahead, brother.
come, that is it. You know, so again, like the elder just brought out, it won't be no peace, man. These things, it have to continue. Remember the stone, you know, the statue in Daniel. We've been talking about it this week, but the statue in Daniel,
Yep.
those kingdoms actually happen after each other. The Babylonians, the Medo-Persians, the Greeks, right? The Romans and America, NATO, and the EU, and these nations we see today. The point is that actually that literally happened in secular history. So
Um,
shall not the end of that dream be fulfilled when the stone come and hit the feet and the toes? It have to happen. It has, so we got to continue seeing Esau fall, and with Esau falling, he go come down with great wrath. Matter of fact, like you just said, Yahweh Shai, he said his hour has come. You know what, Esau, he have an hour, as well when he come down with great wrath. And at the point that he came on the earth to what, steal, kill, and destroy. Still to this day, he's still trying to check this out. He's still trying to steal from Gad and Reuben. End time headlines put out today.
God.
End time headlines put out today. It says big tech now targeting Native American land for massive data centers. Come on, man. You know, and like we was talking before the lesson of the Tazapa, you know, going into a little history before, well, as America was becoming a nation, you know, there was promising Gad, Reuben, certain parts of the land and said, look, we'll never come on that land, y'all good. That's where y'all at. But as America continued to grow, they said, you know what, this our land now. I know we promised it, but so still to this day, they're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, how long this is going to continue? The scriptures say how long? You got it.
No, I was just gonna say that's the same MO or blueprint that went on in Gaza. You know, they came in begging, and now they taking the same people who helped them to war and just taking their shit, deboing it. You know, that's what they did here to the tribe of Gad, Reuben, Issachar, all of, really all of the northern kingdom. Then they went and rounded up the southern kingdom and brought us over here to this God-forsaken land, which wasn't God-forsaken when we got here, but over the process of Esau, now it's God-forsaken.
Man.
And the Lord he gonna put the stamp on that with 200 million nuclear warheads. But that was it. Go ahead, brother.
Kind of got a quick one. Revelation 6 and 4, it says, and there went out another horse that was red, Esau, and power was given to him. Right. See, he ain't just big and bad and tough. No, the Lord allowing this man to do this for the sake of prophecy, you know, and ultimately to show the world what he really is and to show the Lord power. But it says, and power was given to him that said thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. And we about to see the Esau really use his sword like never before. You know, he gonna have to his back against the wall. Right. So I read a little bit of this, even this picture right here. That's, you know, come on, man. But it says big tech now targeting Native American land for massive data centers. It says the rapid expansion of data centers fueled by artificial intelligence demands is increasingly focusing on Native American tribal lands, where companies seek vast space and expedited approvals. Right. Remember about 2 weeks ago, we went into Trump just signed that executive order. Now they can fast track a lot of this AI stuff. They don't need to go through certain levels or maybe Congress or whatever. They can fast track a lot of it. But it says where companies seek vast spaces and expedited approvals that bypass regulatory hurdles faced elsewhere. This push comes as communities nationwide grapple with the infrastructure needs of the AI boom. But on tribal territories, it revives long-standing tensions between development opportunities and the legacy of external exploitation, right? It says tribes in Oklahoma, including the Caddo and the Seminole nations, illustrate the divide with leaders wearing weighing potential economic lifelines against risks to resources and cultural heritage. Right. So that's what Esau doing. He trying to do it. It says, you know, they going back and forth in court right now. It says the Seminole nations unanimous 24-0 vote halted discussions, inquiries, and developments related to data centers, citing risk of water contamination and irreversible environmental harm. Right, and it goes on. So, you know, that's something to watch out for. But this is another thing that's happening with data centers. Put out a couple of days ago, July 6th. Thieves targeting AI data centers, construction sites for copper and expensive equipment. So now you got people, and you know, that's it might continue. You know, people eventually getting tired of it, and they eventually go, you know, want to start going inside of these data centers, going inside of these different buildings and places. Right. But it says criminals are increasingly zeroing in on shipments destined for AI data center construction sites, drawn by valuable loads of copper, wiring, and specialized infrastructure equipment amid the rapid expansion of these facilities across the United States. Right. And it says these supplies could be 1 million and approximately, it says, I just read it. It says in a recent case highlighting the trend, authorities recovered 2 stolen trailers containing approximately 1.3 million in data center supplies. And what's going to be the solution? From the Business Insider, robot dogs are protecting data centers and operators are seeing payoffs. So again, Esau eventually going to go bring a full digital system, you know. And then I typed this in on Terminator. Their robots guard data centers, but the Skynet. It says the machines did not guard their early data centers with humanoid robots, but it says Skynet's primary servers were protected by massive, heavily fortified autonomous complexes guarded by mechanized weapons, platforms like hunter killers, tanks, and shape-shifting liquid metal terminators. You know, so they got these robot dogs, man. And so,
Oh, you got.
Kind of, it says, as companies pour billions into sprawling industrial campuses for cloud and AI computing, some data center operators are experimenting with 4-legged bots about the size of a large dog that can patrol fences, inspect equipment, and flag any issues before they turn into costly outages. You see that? And again, this part of what Yahushua said, what the scriptures say a time. Matthew 24, I get it real quick. It says, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. We about to see a lot of new things in the earth. And Sirach 36, in which that chapter is end time prophecy, it says that the Lord was going to show new signs and make other strange wonders in the earth. This might be part of it. Robots, everything have its purpose. Everything have its purpose on why it's here right now. Why it's here. Esau ain't just creating these robots for nothing. You know, equipped. You know, then eventually it won't just be at the data center. But you had anything on that, Tazapop? Not we're gonna move on.
No, I don't have anything. You good.
Let me see. I might play this video. I'm gonna wait. I read a little bit of this. Where we at? Right here. Matter of fact, let me so this next portion we're going into is digital lockdowns and an energy crisis. Right now, you got this thing they call emotional surveillance. It's the next level of Orwellian technology. So not only are they just tracking people, but not your face, your emotions, different emotions, and a lot of things that people using AI for, like ChatGPT. you know, your conversation you're having with Chat GPT. That AI is learning that, so they in their mind they can be trained on how to be human. That's that's another thing Esau doing. He's taking all this information, the research that he getting from AI, that people talking to it, facial recognition, emotions. I think it says somewhere in here how they AI got so good that it's learning voices, but they can't tell if like they're in emotional distress. I think this it says. Let me read a little bit of it.
Hmm.
Uh, it says voice systems are already central to customer authentic authentication. It says fraud monitoring and automated service. So they already understand voices. It says emotional analyst now offers the potential to escalate calls to human agents. It says and trigger additional verification. Now this not it. So like it was
Let's see.
Salakia. I'm trying to find it.
Yeah, you good, brother. So yeah, we know this digital system is coming. So going back to the what I was saying earlier, you know, we know what's coming down the pipe. All right, the enemy is going because he know that the servants of the Lord is out here. So he has these distractions and all of this going on to get our attentions off of what it needs to be on. But the main thing that is what the brother just said that we need to be looking for is these prophecies. The main two, World War III, the third woe, as well as the MOTB. And we're in the time of both. All right. And there's other smaller prophecies that's going to come into play during the midst of those major ones, you know, but all will be fulfilled, you know, and especially at the coming of our Lord.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The rest he will fulfill personally. All right. Because he got a lot of ass to kick, a whole lot. But right, you know, they do the ceasefire and then you know, Trump come out and scumbag this and the scoundrel that and it's theater. It's a theater of war. All right. And so they want to get you embroiled in that theater while a digital trap is being set right up under everyone. All right. They getting ready to go online with all of the to bring this market of beast about. The whole world is all encapsulated in the World Cup, you know, um, and everything else that's going on. You got the everyday problems of life, these jobs and goddamn bills, you know, and it could get overwhelming, but you know, that's why the scripture tells us to be occupied in prophecy.
Mm.
So that's where our labor should be. You occupied in something, you giving it your attention, all right, but you tending to it as well, you know. And that's us. We occupied in these prophecies. We tend to them, and that's what we go through these articles, um, videos, and all this, you know, media to draw out the truth that that links up, lines up with these scriptures. You know, showing you that, you know, hey, the world, this aeon is coming to a close. All right, we coming to a new. See, the Lord is going to refresh everything. The earth will be refreshed, and His children definitely. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, you Native Americans are going to definitely be refreshed and glorified. All right, everything is wore out. Scripture tells us they were going to seek to wear out the saints, but everything is wore out.
Mm-hmm.
Trees ain't what they used to be. Grass ain't what it used to be. The animals don't have the same spirit. They sad, man. The animals are depressed.
Right.
Um, and we all fucked up. You know what I mean? Shit. Us, Great Millstone, and I don't care who don't like it. We the best people on the earth right now.
Right.
We the best people on face of the earth right now. And I ain't got nothing against the clubs, but y'all see General Yahamna, he at the club. Now, who wants a general that goes clubbing? And again, I don't have, if that's your thing, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. But you a commanding general, as you proclaim, and that's not a good look for a general. I don't want a general that is hanging out in the club in a time of war. We get to the kingdom, let's and fuck the club, but let's do it up. But we at war. That's what I say, man. The people, they bugged out here. Even men that's supposed to be leading men into this battle, they settle on their leads. But I'm just going through this you get your bearings and your info straight. But man, everything is woe out.
Mm-hmm.
And it can't go too much further. But yeah, man, we got this truth. Thank you, Howard, by Hashem Yahweh Shai. And hey, we got to keep pushing, man. This shit can't. This got to end. And the only way it's going to end is the elect is going to have to get right.
That's
Because
right.
that's prophecy. And then the Lord going to come, at the set time. But right now, this grace is given for the elect to come into the fold, which may be already fulfilled. That could be fulfilled. But yeah, it's coming to the end, brother. Go ahead. What you got?
That's right. I put this video, but I read this part the back of what I was saying. How AI getting so good, they understand voice, but they want to understand human emotion. Right here says voice AI has gotten remarkably good at understanding what people say, but it still can't hear how they feel. The frustration under a polite request, the hesitation before someone hangs up, said Chloe Duckworth, the founder of CEO of Valence AI. And she said the gap between human experience and machine intelligence is exactly what we close. So that's what they're going for. They talking about closing the gap, merging really merging man, I guess merging man with machine. But the thing is, machine wasn't given all the senses as man. That's it in what Wisdom of Solomon. It was man that was given the sense
Yeah,
of
and Solomon said it. I forget where that was because I
Mhm.
was thinking about that last week. We was talking about something along those lines. Oh, with the health class, yeah. But yeah, I forget what that was. It might be Wisdom of Solomon. But go ahead, Salaki.
No, you good. You good. And I read one more part. It says from Nick Adams, the managing partner, it says voice AI has made enormous progress towards understanding what people say. The challenging gap remains is what people mean. An emotional state understanding is the signal that closes the gap, and that'll never happen, you know?
Right, that ain't
So,
gonna happen. Hell
right.
no.
And that's why I
Right.
say in Con. And that's why I said Job, what that is, Job 20, when he think he about to feel his belly, when these elites think they really gonna make this happen or even somewhere get close to it, the Lord gonna have all this crashing down. Why? The people are gonna revolt. The working class gonna revolt, chaos going ensue, second Ezra 15, so on and so forth, and many other chapters. You know,
But they can't give machines, for lack of a better term, a soul. So all that our emotions is come with the soul. You know, and some people they get it misunderstood, but right, the spirit, the angels are spirit. That's why the Lord had to come in the flesh so he could have a soul, so he could feel or experience, and he could be the perfect mediator for us because he went through our experience as man. The angels don't know that because they just pure spirit. They don't have the souls that we have. And so Esau will never put a soul in a robot, android, or none of that. That's why they push for the transhumanism, because they want to put the machine in man because they can't create the soul, you know. But yeah, it's Esau, man. That ain't gonna stop him from trying.
yeah, right.
But you got it out.
Man, I'm trying to find that precept. I believe if a brother know where it's at when King Solomon explaining how
I could be
I believe how
wrong.
the
That
Lord
could be that ain't Sirach.
it could be second Edris, maybe.
It could be Ezra. Let me look.
When he said
Yeah, he gave man the five or six. He gave him six, and then the seventh part he gave to man understanding, I believe. On the sixth part, he imparted to man understanding.
okay, I think we got it.
And that's what separates us from the beast of the earth. We have logic and rationale.
I
You know, I
feel
was
like I'm
showing brothers a video. They had a guy was he was giving the snake some water, right? And the snake he was enjoying that water. Looked like, they out in the desert. Snake had his mouth open. The man pouring the water down his throat. Then the snake had enough water, and he struck the man. I said, "Get that goddamn water out of here, nigga! I'm a snake." But that's animal nature. They gonna they gonna do what they was created to do. But like Ecclesiastes 7:29 said, the Most High made man upright, but he saw that inventions, you know, perverting his way. But yeah, you got it. I go here.
no, I ain't got it, man. I'm trying to
You
find it.
still ain't see it? Man, let me look. Let me look.
Yeah, like you were saying, these the
Oh, that brother
inventions.
Abijah put Sirach 17:5.
Oh, he put it.
Con.
Let's see.
The poem put 17, Sirach 17:5.
Let me pull it up. Got the water. This Sirach chapter 17. Yep, Khan, I read it for you. Sirach 17, the waters of Quan. And I'll start at verse 4. I'll start at verse 4. I just start at 1. It says, the Lord created man of the earth and turned him into it again. He gave them few days in a short time, and power also over the things therein. He endued them with strength by themselves and made them according to his image, and put the fear of man upon all flesh, and gave him dominion over beasts and fowls. they received the use of 5 operations of the Lord. And in the 6th place, he imparted them understanding, and in the 7th, speech and interpreter of cogitations thereof.
Speech.
Yeah, you got it though.
Speech. Yeah, that's what we went into last week, the power of the tongue. Yep, that's speech. But yeah, you got it, brother.
Can I read the GNT? 5.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. It looked like they ain't even got a verse 5. They took the 5 out. They took 5 out in the GNT. You see it go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. They took that out.
That's weird.
But it says verse 6. Yeah, it is. It says verse 4, he made all other creatures afraid of them. He gave them authority over all animals and birds. He gave them their tongues, their eyes, their ears, their minds, and their consciousness. Consciousness. So, Bakan. Yep. So what Esau trying to do, it ain't gonna happen. But we'll play this quick video. This from Neil McCoy, and the EU just announced they're on their final phase with their CBDC. Oh, and today is 6 hours ago. He posted this today. It says, announced EU enters the final phase. This is scarier than you think.
I don't have any sound.
Oh, Salaki, hold on. The water. There we go.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the EU has announced today that they are moving into the final phase of their central bank digital currency. And this is a lot scarier than you might think. So I want to open firstly with the article that has just come out. And this is called "The Digital Euro Enters the Final Round." So what they're talking about here is really getting down to the last part of trying to figure out how to stop this massive crisis that I identified a couple of years ago when I went through a lot of the documentation. And one of the things, if you remember this or not, was that I noticed that a lot of the cash would flow out of the commercial banks into the digital euro, causing a crash in the commercial banks. So this is what they're trying to work on now and figure out how to actually solve this. So the European Parliament confirmed its negotiating position with a vote which took place today in Strasbourg, where EU lawmakers are now ready to begin the negotiations with member state governments on how this is going to work. So according to 3 sources involved in this negotiation, the most delicate issue will be agreeing on compensation model. They're going to distribute the compensation. Of course, they told everyone this wasn't about money. No, it was about protection, protecting everybody, making sure it was fair. And I thought this was quite ironic. I wanted to show you this comment. Here we go. Here we go on the shared screen here. Why do we actually need the digital euro? Well, this is from the European Central Bank. They say the digital euro would, along with cash, preserve people's freedom to choose how to pay. Now, I don't know about you, but that is somewhat laughable. We already have the freedom to choose how we pay. The digital euro will do the absolute opposite. It will restrict your freedom on how you want to pay. Right now, you can pay in all sorts of things. You could pay in barter. You could pay in gold if you really wanted to. You can pay in cash. You can pay in a bank transfer. You can pay in cryptocurrency. There's all sorts of things you could do to pay. But after this, there will really just be the one. It will be the digital currency. So we need to take this action now before they do this to us. Of course, absolute nonsense. They just want to get control of all of the currencies within the European Union because they're losing their control. And talking of control and getting your freedom and control back, if you haven't...
Right, I'm gonna skip up.
...compulsory for these pilot schemes, and they want to launch this in 2027. Oh. So launch in 2029. But you could see an early launch of a pilot scheme, and you don't know if you could be selected. Sometimes they do compulsory for these pilot schemes, and they want to launch this in 2027. So again, just something to be.
And that's been an outlook too. I'm gonna pull this website up real quick. It's nanotechrollout.org, and they keeping up with the it says independent tracking of the nanotech, AI, and digital rollout control. And the phase that they're looking for in 2027, you know, first in 2020 to 2023 is the distribution phase. That's complete, right? That's materials introduced into food, water, pharmaceuticals. 2024-25 infrastructure build out, you know, Starlink expansion, CBDC pilots accelerate worldwide, and AI deployment goes mainstream, right? What it is, Will Smith eating spaghetti, you know, and it says activation testing. It says activate now, 2026 to 2027, reports of behavioral cognitive shifts. Wireless activation trials begin. 2027 to 2030. And remember, the point is for this in Esau mind, for this to be finalized and done, and his NWO to be established by 2030. They have to start now, though. They ain't starting in 2030. They got to start now. So what they're looking for 2027, social credit platform, digital currency, mandatory digital ID. Let's hope this is it. Let's hope. And again, he gonna speed up so much can happen in a short time. You know, so much can happen in a short time. Was out of Egypt in a year, and look how much happened within from the time Moses went to Pharaoh until the time he walked through the sea. That was all within a year. How much more now? And the Lord, he gonna speed up the time in this time. See, but I'll go back and play this.
Be aware.
No, go ahead, brother. You good?
Okay. If you do use euros, if you don't, it doesn't matter. But this is a big one.
I'll play a few more maybe a minute of this, and then we can play the Mike Adams video.
The other one they're concerned about is they've already had these cyber attacks on the system, on their, you know, these systems that they've been building and tested. They've already had cyber. Most people are not using.
Dude, guess how much?
All right, what is about to say is next, and we could move on. But
it cost me to make sure my family gets $1 million.
America's behind. They got to do something pretty much.
You'll never guess.
Using it at all. They're still using Visa, MasterCard. Tried all of these sanctions, but they weren't sanctions. They tried all of these fines and fees, and it just didn't work because the US basically.
You're gonna make the point how if he was America, I wouldn't do a CBDC either, because your currency already run the world. Well, it won't for long though. See, these people like this don't know prophecy. America being forced and having to go digital.
Visa, etc. Because
so they better hold out, and every other nation going digital, and they not.
They tried all of these sanctions, but they weren't sanctions. They tried all of these fines and fees, and it just didn't work because the US basically said, well, what Trump basically said, if you put all these fines and fees on and try and restrict our companies, then we're going to put tariffs on you. So I think that's the only reason they backed down. And of course, they wanted to charge all of these taxes and fees on the US tech companies, and that didn't really work either. So that's why you're seeing you're seeing this sort of dystopian nature of the ECB and the UK as well, the European Union and UK really pushing hard, because I feel like they're losing control, losing power, and they know they're losing power, and they know they've only got a certain amount of time left before a lot of these countries start to flip. And you're already seeing these countries flipping already. And I think we know how this is going to end up. It's going to be an interesting one to watch. I think we'll say that. Let's see. There was one other thing I wanted to talk about. Yeah, the key findings then. 146 countries and currency unions representing 98% of global GDP are now exploring a central bank digital currency.
98%.
98% of the world is now exploring a CBDC. It says the US is one that is lagging. I don't know if they're lagging. I think they don't want it. Why would you when you control the payment network?
You know, but as we know, America been said it. They trying to be the leader of the digital system. But let's go ahead. Oh, and not just them. Russia also announced today as well. It says, well, a few days ago, I believe, Russia will officially launch its widespread central bank digital currency, CBDC, the digital ruble, on September 1st, 2026. So they taking it down. Russia, the UK, they moving.
Yeah, and like I said, on the Tuesday long time ago, America, because it's the home of the world reserve currency, it has to be last. Because just like I believe it was Catherine Austin Fitz said, you don't want to crash the old until you done worked out all the kinks of the new. So you kind of want them running parallel, through that trial stage till you get all the kinks worked out. And so, right, the Federal Reserve note still circulating, SWIFT is still in effect. But right, what people don't see is that system that they run in parallel that they setting up to replace it, and that's this digital. Forget the name of it, but this digital system that's coming, the tokenization of all things. But yeah, brother, go ahead.
Kind, I read this real quick. It says the digital ruble, talking about Russia, will feature programmability, allowing for conditional payments, such as restricting how funds are spent by category. Now they can tell you how you can spend your money. It says while transactions, now it's not just like boom, September 1st, 2026, Russia just full-blown CBDC. It's gonna have its phases. Like September 1st, 2026, it says major banks and large retailers are legally required to integrate digital ruble payments. So banks out, major banks, he calls of all major banks out there, and where most people shop, they're gonna start first. You see, where most people have their money, they're gonna start first. Then move to smaller next tier banks and traders, and then in smaller merchants. By September 1st, it says 2028, and it drag it out. But it says what it's going to do will feature programmability, allowing for conditional payments, such as restricting how funds are spent by category. While transactions for individuals are free, the rollout has drawn scrutiny from experts and consumer rights groups regarding state surveillance. That's it. That's where they're going, man. So we'll go ahead and play this from Mike Adams, a few minutes of it. And he dropped this today, right? He dropped this today, and it says July 9th, the coming energy lockdowns will be policed by flock cameras. And we're going to start at the section of energy crisis and surveillance concerns. I'm going to start about a minute before.
Because at some point, the lack of integrity and the absence of a strategy are going to have catastrophic manifestations for America. You can count on it. Yeah, he's right. Catastrophic manifestations. Yeah, that's true. Daniel Davis nails it again. So, by the way, Trump promises to keep bombing Iran, and in response to that, according to a spokesperson from the Iranian Parliament National Security Commission, then if that takes place, Iran will withdraw from the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, the NPT. It will change its nuclear doctrine, and it will order the closure of the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, which of course leads to the Red Sea and the Suez Canal. We talked about that yesterday. So that would that would be a double stranglehold on the world right there if that takes place. So Trump is leading the world into a catastrophic economic collapse, an energy collapse, an endless war, which will escalate potentially into World War III. And Trump doesn't give a crap at all about the American people because he's dragging them along while claiming that, well, eggs are more affordable now. And he managed to convince like 47 gas stations somewhere to lower their prices temporarily for a couple of days so he can brag about low gas prices. But not even 1% of Americans buy gas there. Not even 0.1% of Americans. So it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all theater. It's all BS from, orange fungus, as Michael Young said. So we need to be ready for the energy shock that's coming, or the energy lockdowns. And that's what I believe the flock cameras are all about. They're installing hundreds of thousands of flock cameras to monitor you so that when they announce the lockdowns, the travel restrictions, and they'll say, well, it's an emergency. There's not enough fuel for you to gas up and travel. They can enforce it with the flock cameras. That's what it's all about. So in the energy lockdowns, well, of course, let's be honest, COVID lockdowns were a trial run for this to see how many people would comply and how many local law enforcement officials would go along with it. And the answer was pretty much almost everybody went along with it. So when they have the energy lockdowns, well, that's when Trump can control elections. He can declare a national emergency. He can invoke the Stafford Act, as I covered previously. And then they can confiscate all the fuel in the country. They can also confiscate all the food supplies. They can confiscate everything, farm equipment, cattle, pretty much everything, seeds, you name it, and all your fuel if you have any stored fuel. The one thing they can't take is sunlight, which is why it's a good idea to look into solar energy production. Although they could steal your solar panels.
Why they can't? Why they can't? I mean, they just put chemtrails. They create clouds. I mean, they can't do nothing to the sun, but they can block it out. But yeah, you got it. Go ahead, bro.
That's it. I play a little bit. That was the main point. I'm gonna read this real quick because they're talking about energy lockdowns as well. With this Iran situation still going on, gas prices gonna go up. This was dropped yesterday on naturalnews.com. It says war with Iran is back on, and the coming energy lockdowns are now inescapable. And
So,
you got it.
Okay. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. I'm gonna read this when you finish.
It says the coming energy crisis, oil spikes, shortages, and price shocks. It says it says $200 per barrel is coming, and with it, the collapse of the just-in-time delivery system that keeps grocery stores stocked. As I detail in the global energy collapse, we are watching engineered food scarcity play out in real time. Multiple fronts are compounding the crisis, right? Pilot crisis. It says Ukraine continues to hit Russian tankers. Iran's oil is now off the market. The Red Sea remains at risk of forced closure. Even the U.S. Energy Secretary admits tanker flow is only getting back towards normal, euphemism for chaos. And meanwhile, India is stockpiling crude at record levels. It says, and China is pivoting to nuclear and EVs. And here it is, one of the things too that's coming. And the rolling blackouts we are already seeing are just beginning, and soon governments will impose energy rationing, controlling every kilowatt hour you use. You got it, Zaquan?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna bring out this is Joel chapter 3, verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Right? You see Iran flexing. This been a long time in the making. As I've been seeing lately, for some reason, Mossadegh been coming back up. And the Project Ajax in 1953 that basically overthrew the democratically elected leader of Mossadegh. The CIA went in and set through a coup and put in the Shah of Iran. All right, for the sake of keeping British Petroleum, I forget what it was at that time, and Standard Oil to keep them in power, to allow them to continue to rape, rob, and pillage the Iranian oil. So, and that set off the Iran crisis situation, and that's basically what started where we are now. All right, 1953, the CIA coup that was named Operation Ajax. And so they preparing war, but as you even heard Mike Adams say, he called it theater. Because it's exactly what it is. This is not war in the traditional sense. And with the article you just read, pretty much said the same thing I was thinking. And that is that this is geo and social engineering. All right, and they're manipulating the economy through this. All right, the bombing landscapes and erasing, borders in the Middle East, displacing people. They got a genocide going on. This is all geo and social engineering for that greater Israel and whatever else they got. We're finding out that they want 15-minute cities in Caracas. We spoke on that last week in Venezuela, where they threw a coup earlier this year at the end of February, or at the end of January going into February. They threw that coup in Venezuela. All this is conquest, and brothers have called it out. This is Edom's last hurrah, and they, as Job 20 say, we got to get it, because even you mentioned it. He trying to fill his belly, and as the elder Michael Outlet in L.A. brought out, when you go into colonization, the root of it is colon. And that's what he's doing. It told you, Daniel chapter 7, that fourth beast would devour and stamp it. Let me get that right quick. But that's what Esau is doing. When he's colonizing, he's devouring. Because look at the countries where they at. Malachi told us he would be the border of wickedness. So everywhere he go to set up, he colonizing, eating up everything, as a cancer does, or a canker. Eat up everything and don't restore, return, or replace anything. We see it here in America all the time. But let me grab that. Where I was going at. I forgot.
Yeah, I'm slipping my mind now.
Well, let me get this right quick.
I can play it back.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna get Daniel. Let me get Daniel first. Fourth beast, what I wanted to get into. So this is Daniel chapter 7, verse 7. And after this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. So it said devoured. And that's ancient Rome. All right. But it goes on to say, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. All right. And we're in the revised Roman Empire today with the same 10 horns, the EU, which was formerly the European Economic Community, in ancient Rome. So this is this is the fourth beast that resurrected, that had the wound, the deadly wound by a sword, but was healed. It's doing the same, because it's in the same spirit and the same people. It's doing the same thing. We got Nero in office.
Mm-hmm.
This is Rome. And so it said it devoured, it colonized, ate up. All right. And break in pieces and stamp the residue with the feet of it. All right. And that's what's going on. It's a digital colonization, but it's a colonization nonetheless. And we brought this out on this show. That was a monument moment. And that's why they had that big kind of press conference and stuff. When you saw Trump with all them tech billionaires, you never saw that, because the Silicon Valley folks never got into politics. But now that it's going to a digital government, now they're stepping up to the forefront and getting to these politics. Now you're seeing you hearing names that, instead of the household names we grew up with. McConnell, he just passed. I mean, that nigga dead. McConnell just died. Nancy Pelosi, all these names I grew up with. Now you're hearing Peter Tills. You're hearing well, for one, the Doge and Elon Musk. You were saying something? Go ahead.
Nah, I ain't saying nothing.
Right, and that's what Elon's job was to go in and get the info for the tech folks. And that's exactly what he did. He got all the records and the info, and now they setting this government in place. But yeah, go ahead, brother. That was it.
Kind of got that Job 20 for you.
Oh yeah, Job 20, and then I got one more. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Kind I start at 4 and I jump down. Job 20 and 4, it says, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon the earth, that the triumphant of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment.
Yeah, hit it one more time. I was looking for something.
Job 20 and 4, it says, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon the earth, that the triumphant of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment.
Yeah, he saw the ultimate hypocrite. Yeah, he tell you not to do something the whole time he doing it and doing it big.
Right.
But all this hypocrisy is a spotlight is being shined on it right now. The Heavenly Father is airing this devil out. When he said he was going to lift his skirts, he has lifted this devil's skirt. For those who wish to see, and it ain't pretty. It ain't nothing to see, but you got to see it, because the man, his wickedness has gone, a lot of it just undercover. And it's so much, man. It's so much that's being revealed. Man, this man got a heavy track record. Heavy. But go ahead, right?
It says, verse 22, it says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the
that's Salaki, that's where he is now, in the fullness of his sufficiency. All right. He has more, as the scriptures say, than heart could wish. Go ahead.
Yep. It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him.
First and foremost, the Israelites, because the wicked was translated from the Hebrew word amal. They did better right there to put the sufferers, or the laborers, those who he forced labor upon and caused to suffer. First and foremost, that's the children of Israel. All right, but all nations are suffering now, But yeah, you got it out.
The scriptures highlight how he wore out the saints in Daniel the 7th chapter.
Okay. Man, hey, I'm finna get it. Stay there. That's on point. That's on point. That's actually on point. Sulaki.
Now you got it.
Yeah, let me grab it right. I should have stayed there.
But now that was backing up exactly what you said. Yeah, he wearing out other nations, but starting with us first and foremost.
Yeah, mainly us. We the target of all his attacks. Because we are the threat. We're the threat. And this is Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand, the saints, given into his hand, until a time and times and the dividing of time. All right. That's 350 years. The time is representing centuries. So you got one time, then it say in times, and that's you add 2 to that, and then it said dividing. Let me go back and see. Dividing of the time is the half. So in total, 3.5 centuries. All right, and that was pretty much between 1619, 1620 to 1907, 1969. Okay, and so right, just to show how unjust this devil is. You know, when Jake was doing the marching and civil rights, Esau was supposed to set us up. So by the time the 70s came, he wasn't supposed. He just went too far. All right. As I just read, we was to be given into his hands for 350 years, and it's over 400 now. And this devil, he won't even give us the means to do for ourselves. So yeah, he just busted. As you know, in the law, it said if you steal a man or he be found in your hand, you should surely be put to death. And so here we are, we still in your hands. Emancipate. Not free, emancipated. We're still in your hands. Emancipate means to change hands, loosely. But yeah, you got it, brother.
God, that is it. I read this last one in Job 20:23. It says, and when he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him and shall rain it upon him while he is eating.
So when he is about to fill his belly, when he's getting ready to go for the whole, you know, to enslave the whole globe, because that's what he wants. He wants to enslave the entire, all of the Most High's creation. Ain't that a bitch?
Man.
He want to enslave all the Most High's creation. Because he going to tokenize if he had it his way. He's not, but this is what he wants. He wants to tokenize everything. And that means to tag, catalog, and do whatever he wants with. So when he think he's about to get that set with his AI and his quantum computing and his all his millions of acres of data centers, well, how gonna come to destroy all this shit? You got it.
Now that's it. And we could take it out on this. I just read this last part and I'll get one more precept. So the conclusion of this energy crisis is going to be a political fallout, ultimately a new system. It says, recognize that we are entering a period of controlled energy lockdowns designed to force compliance and rationing. The globalists want you to depend on a failing grid. Revelation 13 and verse 16, it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hands or in their foreheads. And these are ways a so-called white man gonna cause all, you know, make life hard around you. So where you have to, he gonna force you to come to the government for help, you know. He gonna force people to depend on the government, just like, you know, Joseph used that back in Egypt, you know, which it wasn't for wickedness like Esau, right? But Esau using that, and he gonna flip it, you know. But the point is, he want to put a RFID C-hip in everybody. That's his mind. That's the elder was just going into in Job 20 of fulfilling his belly, finishing his new world order plans. That's the ultimate plan, the conclusion of the matter. It says, recognize that we are entering a period of controlled energy lockdowns designed to force compliance and rationing. Revelation 13 and 16, and he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hands or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. And that's how close we are. You know, you just said it on top of the part. You know, the Lord go turn everything and rain judgment on Esau once he think he had this moment. And look how close we are to this. This the next step. The CBDC system is here. The foundation is laid. We just need certain events to take place they can enforce it. That's it. That's all.
Yep.
But that was it though.
You close it out.
Well, with that, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. This information, is needful. And until next time, if it be the Lord will. But hey, once again, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Chakodash, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and as well as the men that taught them, and peace and blessings to all you walking out there who pushing this word with truth and sincerity, and as well as to all you believers out there who believe on the gospel. Hey, keep fighting, keep pushing, and man, we almost out of here. And the water for tuning in.
Right, Shalom.
Shalom.